Big Mouth is back, and you've got so many funny people doing this, man. So this season you've got Zach Galifianakis and Seth Rogen and John Oliver. How do you reach Paul Giamatti? How do you reach out to these people and say, "This is what I got in mind for you," and then you then lay out what you actually have in mind for them, Nick?
Well,
how does that work for you?
Know, in order of appearance, John Oliver was early in the season. He plays a British. The first 3 episodes take place at camp, and we always had British counselors for some reason. Like
I remember
summer camps in the Northeast always had weird British counselors.
Yes.
With high black socks and sandals and shorts.
Yes. Yes.
Including my now brother-in-law Roger Bennett, who's a host of Men in Blazers podcast and TV show. Just doing a little sports podcast show. Synergy. Shout out to Roger Bennett and Michael Davies of the
Men in
Blazers crew.
Yes.
But those counselors were always around, and John is a friend. I call him a friend. I don't know if he'd call me a friend, but we reached out to him. He was down to pop in and do it. Paul Giamatti voices speaking of toilet time, one of the storylines is that Andrew goes to camp and he doesn't like to poop anywhere but at home.
Yes.
And he basically spends the entire summer holding it in. Or he loses the thread, a little bit of a turtle head, like a turtle head situation where it pops out and then retreats and doesn't want to go back. And so Paul voices his impacted poop, his angry impacted poop for the year. And I think we reached out to him directly, or no, I didn't reach out to him. We went through regular casting, and I think it turned out his son was a fan, and so he was like, "All right, I'll play an impacted poop on your show." He's amazing. I mean, he couldn't be more perfect for the role. And then Seth Rogen has been a friend for a long time and a fan of the show, and he plays my best friend at camp, and he was also a kind of a camp kid, so he really understood that. He plays Seth Goldberg on the show.
Okay.
His best friend from childhood and writing partner is Evan Goldberg. My best friend and writing partner on Big Mouth is Andrew Goldberg. So we thought there was some fun stuff to make him Seth Goldberg. And he definitely showed his balls to kids at camp, which he does on the show. And then, Zach Galifianakis plays, in fact, getting back to the beginning of our conversation.
Yes.
He plays the Gratitoad, because the season of Big Mouth deals with anxiety, which I think people are dealing with right now more than ever, and kids are obviously dealing with it a tremendous amount. And, we talked to psychologists, therapists about how do you deal with anxiety, and the thing that came back repeatedly, and really with one specific therapist that we talked to, was he talked about, take breathing, really working your breathing, and also gratitude. And so when I heard gratitude, I was like, oh, what if there was a Gratitoad? And then we reached out to Zach, who has this really wonderful kind of funny voice for gratitude as like a kind of a fun, almost like Margaritaville-esque gratitude, this toad who's like all about gratitude as a means to help kids deal with their anxiety. And as a means for you to deal with your anxiety as you losing your fantasy football.
Yes,
and your
I do need a Gratitoad. You're right, Nick. And so you just dropped a lot there, and I just want to go one by one on a few things here. Look, I've been fortunate to ask friends who are very talented and very well-known friends do stuff for me on this show, like, hey, would you mind reading it this way or doing it that way, and then they send it to you, and it's not that, like you have to send it back to them and say, would you mind doing it another way? We've done bits and constructs like that. So when you ask Paul Giamatti to play an impacted poop, do you just accept his first reading, or do you actually give somebody that decorated notes, Nick? How does that work?
There are not. The beauty of Paul Giamatti is that there's not the need for many notes. He was able to very quickly find the character of an impacted, angry poop. In fact, on my Instagram, there's a video. Somewhere on my Instagram, there's a picture of Giamatti, and then a video of him I think we recorded him. He was in New York. We were in LA. And Mark Levin, one of my co-creators, took a video of him speaking straight to camera about Nick, the character. But I like to think Paul is actually speaking it directly to me. But you can see the performance, and it's pretty special. Is this live? Are we live right now?
We are. Yeah, we are. Okay. We are. But I appreciate you giving me that heads up. But is there a way you can?
I'm like, I could play something. I could play it for you directly, but I feel like that might be
no, that would be dicey,
slightly dangerous.
We'll just have to. We'll just have to see it on your show.
Yes, it says if you go to my Instagram, it's Andrew's poop is Paul Giamatti, and you can see it. The poop looks a little like Paul Giamatti. And you can see Paul, and he's got a fully shaved head, and it's pretty special. And if you're angry with me, if we ever end up in the same fantasy football league,
sure,
Rich and you,
yes,
you get frustrated with me, you can go and hear Paul Giamatti speak to my selfishness and it might bring you some solace.
I look forward to that, Nick. And we will. I will definitely remember that I've invited you to something that you have months to back out of. Next year. Before I let you go, for my own children, I need to ask: Sing 2, is that coming? Do we get that? Do we get more Gunther?
Sing 2 is coming. It's COVID has thrown everything sort of for a loop, but
right.
It is coming. I've done a lot of recordings for it, and it's great. And I think I did a recording for you of Gunter, yes. And I don't think you did not give me any notes on it, but maybe now I didn't. Feel more comfortable.
No, again, you captured that, but if I asked you to record something to my children in the voice of the douche, I would have given you notes for sure from Sausage Party.
I will hold off on that, but
okay.
If and when if your kids are ever, need to make a BM, I can talk to Paul Giamatti about voicing an impacted poop for them. Just let me know.
Oh man, I think I told you the last time you were here. My kids, as we were driving around town, looked and saw the posters for Sausage Party and billboards. Are like, Dad, can we see that? I'm like, nope, no, you may not.
Not yet.
No, you may not.
When they do, it's a glory. By the time the COVID quarantine is over, oh my God, you'll be like, you know what? Go ahead.
Why not?
Watch it.
What the hell?
What are we going to do at this point? We've watched everything else.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.